The Immortal is a game created by Will Harvey in an isometric art style and originally released in 1990. While I didn't realize it at the time, it's another one of those games similar to Mortal Kombat, which had a lot of graphic violence that Nintendo decided to censor on their platform. Even with the censored version, this was perhaps my first introduction to a more grown-up game that wasn't kid-friendly and cartoony. The Immortal is known for being extremely unforgiving, as you really have to master the puzzles through trial and error with delicate precision before you can make any progress. It was so difficult that they decided to give a complete walkthrough of the first level in the manual that came with the game, along with hints for the other levels. A clue book guiding you through the entire game was also sold separately, written from the perspective of an in-game character. This is unquestionably my favorite game for the original NES console, and ahead of its time in a lot of ways, with a compelling story, highly praised for its graphics, and an amazing soundtrack composed by Ron Hubbard. I reached out to Will and asked what source material he drew inspiration from to create the game, and this was his response. I grew up as a teenager in the 80s, so of course Dungeons & Dragons and Lord of the Rings were an influence, but ironically other games of the 80s were in a sense a counter-influence. The goal of most adventure games is to kill monsters and steal their stuff. That seemed to me like a simplistic way to look at the world. Sure, some monsters are bad and want to kill you, but are they all bad? You can get through the Immortal by killing monsters indiscriminately, but the ending is different if you are open forging relationships that require you to think before you act. The Immortal game is set in a world with orcs and goblins that have their lives and problems to deal with. If you treat everything that's green as a monster to kill and steal its stuff, you miss out on a broader story arc that you play a role in while working your way through the game. I've often wondered if they'll ever decide to do something more with this franchise, such as a reboot for modern platforms or even a sequel, or if most people would just prefer that it be preserved as it is. So much time has passed that it's probably unlikely, but then you never really know. Even by today's standards, I think it still stands on its own and has left a powerful impression on my childhood that I'll never forget.